The Denver Broncos have just been handed an incredible opportunity to elevate their team in free agency. Unexpectedly, several high profile players have hit the market, giving the Broncos a chance to make some game changing moves. And we all know March is when Coach Sean Payton shines, making those crucial strategic upgrades that could push the team deep into the playoffs next year. Today, we're diving into who's on the market, the surprise moves we didn't see coming, and how these upgrades could transform the Broncos. Trust me, this is a video you don't want to miss. As soon as I open Twitter these days, it's like a free agent frenzy. Every day there's a new name I wasn't expecting, and I'm thinking, let's make him a Bronco. Let's make him a Bronco. It's like Oprah giving away car keys. You get a Bronco, and you get a Bronco. This is exactly why we're lucky to have Sean Payton. He's proven time and again that the players he picks up in March have a real lasting impact on the team. Now here's the big news. One of the best wide receivers in NFL history, Davante Adams, has hit the free agent market. Yes, you heard that right. A future Hall of Famer is available, and the Broncos could potentially snag him at a veteran minimum. This news is shocking, especially since the New York Jets have decided to part ways with him. Many fans might be quick to dismiss him, thinking he's washed up, but that's simply not true. When you look at his performance last year, Adams still had an impressive 8 touchdowns and over 1,000 receiving yards. And keep in mind, he was playing with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, who was dealing with injuries, and multiple backup QBs for the Las Vegas Raiders. Despite all that, Adams' numbers were actually better than Courtland Sutton's last season. Just a year ago, many experts and analysts were ranking the Las Vegas Raiders as having the best receiving core in the AFC West, largely because of Davante Adams. So, don't be fooled. He hasn't fallen off as much as some might think. His peak might be behind him, but he still has plenty of fire left in the tank. We're not going to see another year like this from a player. Davante Adams has set the NFL on fire, coming closer to 2,000 yards than 1,000, and he's only 32 years old. He takes care of his body, so there's no reason to believe he's slowing down anytime soon. It makes perfect sense for the Broncos to make a move for him. In fact, multiple reliable sources around the NFL are saying that Denver is one of the top teams that could seriously benefit from signing him. James Palmer, a former DNVR and NFL Network reporter who knows a ton of people in the Broncos front office, even says the Broncos are at the top of the list for a reason. To make things even more exciting, Coach Mike Sanford, the new head coach at Valor Christian Schools, called this move the biggest no-brainer for the Broncos. Think about it. If you're Davante Adams, would you want to go to a team like Michigan, where Jim Harbaugh doesn't prioritize airing the ball out, or to the Steelers, where the quarterback situation is uncertain and full of drama, or even back to Green Bay, where things aren't quite the same? It doesn't seem like Adams would be interested in those options. He's a West Coast guy, and the Broncos seem like a natural fit. The only place that would worry me, the Kansas City Chiefs. But outside of that, the idea of Adams in a Broncos uniform is thrilling. The best part about this deal is that it wouldn't mean closing the door on Courtland Sutton. Imagine adding Adams alongside Sutton. That's a dangerous receiving core. Sutton still has a lot to give despite some rough moments this past season, like the failed double reverse play. But beyond that, he showed flashes of greatness, and his numbers from last year were actually better than Sutton's, even with worse quarterback play. Sutton is a phenomenal route runner, and with Adams added to the mix, the Broncos' offense could be unstoppable. Bringing in a player like Davante Adams on a veteran minimum deal would be an incredible upgrade for the Broncos. Imagine just 2 years ago, if we'd been told this was even a possibility, fans would have been ecstatic. This move would add so much firepower to an already promising offense. If you're as excited as I am about the prospect of Adams joining, drop a comment and let me know what you think. There's still a lot of chatter surrounding other potential players too, like Cooper Kupp. So if you had to choose between Cooper Kupp or Davante Adams on a veteran minimum deal, who would get you more hyped? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now let's shift gears to another topic that's been all over the rumor mill lately: the Broncos running back situation. With the start of free agency, many are wondering if the Broncos will bring in a new running back. The uncertainty around Javonte Williams' future with the team, especially after his injury struggles, is definitely a big factor. And the fact that we made former running back Audric Esme a healthy scratch during the biggest game of the year might be a sign that the Broncos aren't entirely confident in their current backfield. It's been a while since we've had a 100-yard rusher, and the Broncos haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since the days of Philip Lindsay. One name that keeps coming up in discussions is Aaron Jones, the current running back for the Minnesota Vikings. Last season, Jones rushed for over 1,000 yards and was a huge playmaker for the Packers. In fact, he was a key player in their offense, helping them stay competitive in the NFC. Despite the Vikings' struggles with quarterback play, Jones still managed to elevate their offense, and they were competing for the top spot in the NFC until the Lions defeated them late in the season. Aaron Jones definitely has a lot left in the tank, and I would love for the Broncos to make a play for him in free agency. It might actually be doable since the Vikings are in a tough spot cap-wise. While they do have more cap space than the Broncos, they've made it clear that they're focused on bringing in Sam Darnold on a short-term deal. Short-term deals can create cap space issues, which could work in the Broncos' favor if they're able to make a push for Jones. If the Vikings decide to spend $20 to $30 million on a short-term deal for Sam Darnold, that's fantastic news for the Broncos. Why? Because it means they won't have as much money to spend on Aaron Jones, which could open the door for Denver to sign him. The Broncos' biggest competition for Jones could very well be the Vikings, but the fact that they're moving on from him only makes it more likely that he'll hit free agency, something the Broncos should absolutely capitalize on. Another name that's been gaining attention is Drew Dalman, the standout center from the Atlanta Falcons. There were rumors that he might get tagged or signed to a long-term deal, but since the franchise tag is used so rarely on offensive linemen outside of left tackles, it's still possible Dalman could hit the market. The issue with tagging a center is that you have to pay them as much as a left tackle, and most teams are reluctant to do that. The only team that made that mistake was the Chiefs, who tagged a guard and are now paying him $5 million more for subpar performance compared to the Broncos' own Quinn Miners. What if the Broncos, instead of targeting an inside linebacker like we all thought, decided to take a different approach? What if Sean Payton looks at the center position, one of the few areas of weakness on the offensive line, and says, let's turn this into one of the best offensive lines in football? Dalman is ranked as the fourth best center in the NFL according to Pro Football Focus, and pairing him with Miners, who is one of the best guards, would give the Broncos an absolutely elite offensive line. Add in Garrett Bowles, one of the top left tackles in the game, and you've got a recipe for sustained excellence on the offensive front. With an upgraded offensive line, the Broncos' offense could take a major leap forward, opening up endless possibilities for the future. Let me know in the comments which of these options has you the most excited. Davante Adams, Cooper Kupp, Aaron Jones, or Drew Dalman. Which one would have you booking your tickets for Santa Clara next year? Because the Broncos are headed to the Super Bowl. I'm really curious to hear what you think. What's truly exciting right now is the way the Denver Broncos are approaching this rebuild. They're carefully putting the puzzle together, one piece at a time, and Sean Payton has a clear vision for what needs to be done. Whether it's upgrading the center position with a free agent or through the draft, strengthening the safety position, or making key moves at wide receiver and linebacker, Payton knows exactly how to address these needs. This is an incredibly thrilling time to be a Broncos fan, as the team is shaping up for something special in the near future.